Good morning, everyone. It is Saturday, June the 29th, 2019. It is currently 11:13 a.m. Central Time. I apologize. I went live for like half a second, and then I hit the wrong button and closed everything down and had to restart the live broadcast. So, welcome if you are listening now, or I will give you a few seconds to catch up. But for everyone who will hear the recording of this is a live broadcast for the VBC 66 app. If you do not have the VBC 66 app, it's very simple. Go to the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. Apple App Store, the Google Play Store. Do a search for VBC 66. Download the app. Then you will have access to, everything that we publish, everything we post, everything we share. You'll have access to everything, and you can listen to the live broadcast when they are live. All right. Also, we send out notifications to a number of other places when we go live, just trying to let as many people know as possible. Now, what we're going to do this morning, it is a Saturday morning, and what we're going to do is we're going to be talking about, something related to the subject of hermeneutics. All right. So we will be doing that in just a minute. But I always like to just kind of get some announcements out of the way, just take care of some, normal type stuff, just to give everyone a chance to tune into the live broadcast if they so desire. What happens when I go, right before I go live, I send out a notification to everyone who has the VBC 66 app. A notification is sent out in a number of other places. So I have to kind of give it a second for people to catch up. Let's look at a couple of things really quick, just some basic stuff that you may be interested in or you may not be interested in. This week, the whole focus this week on the VBC 66 app has been Ephesians chapter 3, verse 19. I started the week by giving everyone 3 questions, interpretive questions, hermeneutical questions in regards to Ephesians 3:19. Then I started posting some additional sermons from different sources. Dr. Martin Lloyd-Jones is the main one we have used. His sermons on Ephesians 3:19, he did a number of them on Ephesians 3:19, just to try to give you a different perspective and to try to help you answer your questions in regards to Ephesians 3:19. If you have not done the work on Ephesians 3:19, I would really challenge you to do that, especially since we're getting ready to have a hermeneutical discussion. I've said it so many times. Hermeneutics is not a subject to be learned. It is a subject to be put into practice. You can learn all the hermeneutical principles in the world. I could give you a test on hermeneutics and you could pass it. And for those who may be tuning in who have no idea what hermeneutics is, that is the methods of interpretation, right? The interpretation, and from a biblical perspective, it is the correct method or a method of biblical interpretation. There are lots of different methods of interpretation, a lot of different hermeneutical systems. But when we speak of hermeneutics, we're speaking of interpretation. And everyone uses hermeneutics, Christians and non-Christians alike, because we all interpret things every single day, right? We read things, we're interpreting them. We see things, a movie, a television show, we're interpreting them. A song, lyrics. So the idea of interpreting things is common. Now, sadly, especially on social media, when you read comments underneath articles, you sometimes wonder if the people do have the ability to correctly interpret things. But I don't think interpretive skills are really taught much in the educational system, and they're definitely not taught in the church. I mean, social media, and we'll look at Christians making comments about Scripture, and sometimes you're kind of wondering, whoa, what church do they go to, and why have they not been taught how to correctly handle, study, and interpret the Bible? All right, and it's true of any. You can have people talking about a novel in the same discussion. So, when it comes to what we've been trying to do, we've been doing this for the last 3 weeks. We're starting the week with a verse. I'm doing a recording where I'm kind of saying, okay, here's 2 questions, 3 questions, and I'm trying to break the verse down into sections, trying to get you to think about each section and come up with a correct interpretation. I'm not doing the work for you. I'm trying to get you to do the work. So this week it's been Ephesians 3:19. You can find all of those messages in the Sermon and Bible Study Notes section of the VBC 66 app. Also, one of our listeners asked us to do some work on Mark chapter 11. I posted, I did one sermon at Victory Baptist Church on this section of Mark 11. I need to do a second one. So I posted a sermon last night called A Cursed Fig Tree and Prayer. A Cursed Fig Tree and Prayer. That is in the Sermon and Bible Study Notes section. What it is my introduction and then a sermon from John MacArthur. I don't necessarily agree with his handling of this passage, but I want to give people a different, a different point of view on it as well. So all of that is in the Sermon and Bible Study Notes section. Also in the church history section, I have posted a couple of things probably to point out. I've got a discussion here on the Athanasian Creed. You definitely want to listen to that. I also posted a discussion on Luther's Small Catechism, the section on daily prayers and the table of duties. That is there. Also, two very important church history things I would point you to. One on Azusa Street, right? Famous Azusa Street, if you know modern church history. Kind of the modern charismatic movement. And Sister, I think her name was Annie. I think Sister Annie, maybe. Sister Amy, Sister Annie. It's in the church history section as well. You'll want to listen to those. And the news and focus section of the VBC 66 app. Some very important things to look at about what's happening in your world. A California resolution blaming religion for LGBTQ suicides. A California resolution blaming religion for LGBTQ suicides. The discussion about that is in the News and Focus section of the VBC 66 app. Also, a discussion about a possible split in the United Methodist Church. You may want to listen to that as well. And then there's just a number of other things in the News and Focus section. Bottom line, what I'm trying to say is there is a lot of things to listen to on the VBC 66 app. Stuff is being posted every day throughout the day. All right. It's not, we didn't want this church app to be a church app where, okay, here, click here to give us some money. Click here to find out, our schedule. Click here to, hear a couple of sermons and maybe we'll update it once every 6 months, maybe. Okay. No, what we wanted to do is to make the VBC 66 app, the app to have on your mobile device so that around the clock, you have access to spiritual food, discussions about the Word of God, church history, hermeneutics, philosophy, culture, keeping you informed about what is happening in your world, news, and live radio. All right. And I think we've done a pretty good job of trying to accomplish all of that. All right. Are you ready? All right. Here we go. Let's get to our Saturday morning, well, before it becomes Saturday afternoon, hermeneutical discussion. Now, today we're going to be dealing with a very important question. What is a chiasm? What is a chiasm? Or we could say it this way. What is a chiastic structure in the Bible? What is a chiasm? What is a chiastic structure in the Bible? Now, let me spell this word out, chiasm. It is spelled C-H-I-A-S-M. C-H-I-A-S-M. It is pronounced chiasm. Chiastic, C-H-I-A-S-T-I-C. C-H-I-A-S-T-I-C. It is pronounced chiastic. What is a chiasm? What is a chiastic structure in the Bible? That is the goal this morning. There is so many other things I would like to talk about. Late last night on Family Radio, which you can listen to on the VBC 66 app, they started their overnight hours with a discussion on Jonah chapter 2. I believe it was verse 9. And as soon as they read it and the way they kind of handled it in a devotional manner, I'm like, I have to grab my Bible and look at this. And I was like, this is Jonah's prayer inside the belly of the great fish. Okay. what's going on here? And then I started looking up a few commentaries, and one of the commentaries, the way it handled it, I was like, whoa, we could talk about that in a hermeneutic discussion. But we can't get to Jonah 2:9 because we have to deal with a chiasm, a chiastic structure. And why are we going to deal with a chiasm and a chiastic structure? It would be interesting right now if we could do a live poll. How many people know what a chiasm is or a chiastic structure is, and how many people have ever heard this talked about? I bet you most people who go to church have not. Now, the reason we're going to talk about this is because Wednesday night at Victory Baptist Church, I get ready to leave church, and someone walks up to me and says, hey, we got this in the mail. And I looked at it, and it says it's from Santa Clarita, California. It was mailed 17 June. It looks like 1942 Monterey. All right, I guess that's the address. It's addressed to the men's ministry leader. Okay, we don't have a men's ministry leader at our church. Okay, so all right, whatever. It says men's ministry leader, VBC. Then it has our address. And I'm like, okay, it's like a little paper booklet. And I turned it around to look at the title. And it says Canaan's Curse, with Genesis and Revelation as bookends. Canaan's Curse, with Genesis and Revelation as bookends. And this was, I guess it's written or put together by David Gold. G-O-U-L-D, Gold, I guess how you would say it. David Gold, maybe, G-O-U-L-D. I'm horrible at pronouncing names, so I apologize. I worked in the medical world and have to go out and call a patient. I'd just be like, hey, whoever's name is spelled this way, right? Because, yeah, there's a whole reason for that. But we'll get into that later. All right, so they gave me this booklet, Canaan's Curse, with Genesis and Revelation as bookends. Now, the people at the church always joke, when we get things sent to our church, they always hand it to me going, okay, don't read this on the way home, because I'll start, as soon as you hand me anything with words in it, I'm going to stop and start reading it. And I tend to react strongly to things, right? My reaction is always like, my feelings about a subject. It's never hidden. It's never subtle. It's very straightforward. It's very blunt. You hear that in my teaching and in my preaching. So I was like, what is this? What is this thing? Canaan's Curse with Genesis and Revelation as bookends. I'm like, okay, are they going to try to make some argument about Canaan's Curse by just using Genesis and Revelation? What, like, is that good hermeneutics? Like, how does this work? And how much does the book of Revelation have to say about Canaan's Curse? Right? You would think if you're going to talk about Genesis and Revelation, you would think you would call it the curse of the fall, right? Maybe, I don't know. But Canaan's Curse. All right. So I opened it up. I opened this up. Hopefully this will work here. I'm holding an iPad in my hand for doing the live broadcast while trying to got a stand here to hold this little booklet. So I open it up, and right on the front page, like as soon as you open up this little, you almost tore it trying to open it. It's like folded paper put together. It's not like a real booklet form here. You'd have to kind of see what I'm referring to here. But as soon as you open it up, guess what? The first question it is on, I guess, page 1. What is a chiasm? A chiasm. And I'm like, whoa, wait. What is a chiasm? Okay, it's going to use this chiasm, chiastic structure, to try to make this point. Now, what's interesting is when you look over then at the next page, at the very top, it says chiasm, all right? And then it has Genesis 1:15 and Revelation 22:5, Genesis 2:9 and Revelation 22:1, Genesis 2:12 and Revelation 21:18, Genesis 2:22 and Revelation 21:9. And I'm like, wait. So what they're doing, and again, you don't know what a chiasm is, stay with me. So what they're trying to argue is that there's a chiasm is present in Genesis 1:15 with Revelation 2:22:5. So they're taking two verses, right, completely separated, completely different books, completely different testaments, putting them together and saying, oh, there's a chiasm. There's a chiastic structure. Well, is that how it works in hermeneutics? Is hermeneutics like you can just grab this verse, take a different verse somewhere else, put the two verses together, and create your own chiasm, your own chiastic structure? Or is that the way it works? Now, to the credit of whoever put this book together, right here on the as soon as you open the page, it says